Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. Right, so in today's video we're going to be talking and discussing exactly why you should vote for Blob in the Summoner choice. Now I know a lot of us are kind of deflated after the failure of the last Summoner choice event and Gladiator being one of the worst champions of the year. At the same time though, if Kabam is presenting us with absolutely obscure characters nobody really wanted to add to the game, then we can make a point of choosing the most fun and awesome one, which, by the way, is 100% the Blob. If you take a look at it, first of all, we can notice that Blob is a hefty individual, and, let's face it, the world is getting fatter and fatter and fatter, and, this video game does not represent that. We do not have nearly enough plus-size representation in Model Concept Champions, and Blob could change that. Even Kingpin kind of barely counts because he allegedly has 2% muscle mass. 2% fat and 98% muscle. So he's pretending that he's not chubby, but whatever. At least Blob would be the first truly openly obese character. He's wearing his belly loud and proud, and we need more of that because that is reflective of the generations today. We are getting fatter and fatter, and Blob could be a great symbol for that, right? A lot of us who have some weight problems, myself included, I do have some extra kilos that I need to get off my belly. Blob will be a very, very addition to the game. Generally speaking, Kabam loves diversity and representation. We do have all sorts of races and genders and whatnot being included, and I think it's high time that, they stop discriminating towards plus-sized people. I know that plus-size superheroes is not exactly the first thing that comes into mind when you think Marvel, but we could change that, and that starts with Blob. And that is not all. Him being chubby chonker is not the sole reason we should absolutely vote for him. In fact, we can have some crazy revelations about Blob because he is very cool and funny character with plenty of powers like healing factor, impervious to skin disease, tissue absorbing impact. His tissue, is quite cool. He can trap projectiles with his big belly of his. Can't be punctured or lacerated, not impervious to energy attacks. Impervious to fire and heat, so he could have incinerate resistance. Just saying, maybe Nova flame immunity. Considering, impervious to cold as well. He could have cold snap immunity, so he could have a new mutant in the game, which is something that I'm going to discuss in a bit. With some cool immunities, he creates his own gravitational field. He could actually shapeshift if he wants. Always revert to his original shape. Can't control skin if distracted. But he can recoil projectiles. Okay, cool. Body rebounds attacks. But he must provide superhuman strength. Blob can still be concussed. I actually did not know that Blob appeared in one of the X-Men movies, but allegedly he did. His eyes near his mouth are vulnerable, so there we go. Nerve endings don't send pain, so he's immune to pain. But most importantly, we have some very cool revelations. Because Blob has done some cool things, and we're going to talk about them. Blob joined Magneto and his Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, so, he's one of the cool and stylish baddies that runs with the Holocaust survivor, which is also important. The Blob joined Mystique and her Freedom Force, of course he did. The Blob got a major upgrade from Onslaught, and we just received Onslaught, so there could be some very cool synergy. Perhaps the Blob played a part in assassination of attempt of Senator Kelly. The Blob attacked his X-Corps teammates. Fine. The Blob became an MGH drug dealer. It's like, look at that. Him and Kingpin, like two peas of the pod. Him becoming a drug dealer kind of fits, Who doesn't want to see a chunky, devil's lettuce pusher? The Blob joined Miss Sinister to kill X-Men. Fair enough. The Blob literally ate the Wasp, and this is the favorite one. So, he allegedly has eaten Wasp and then commented that she tasted like chicken. Wouldn't you want that added to the game? I think the choice here is absolutely clear already. But we have more. Because the name itself, Blob, is good. It will let us have some nice and witty wordplay. For instance, blob it up. You blobbed it up. Or you got blobbed. He blobbed all over you. I mean, that's a personal favorite of mine. You just got blobbed. Or he will blob you. Blobbing will not help. Do you even blob when somebody screws up with the blob in a fight? That is a huge blob when somebody else has a bigger blob than you do. Contain your blob, or blob that big is just unfair. Or ultimately, Kabam blobbed this up. You see, this is all that he's offering. If he does not come to the MCOC, we don't get any of these gems, and I'm sure there will be many more. These are the ones that just came up in a couple of minutes, right? So, in between him being a plus-size representation that this game severely needs, in between him being absolutely iconic and funny as fuck, in between his name being perfectly usable for all sorts of things, Blob is the clear choice. Blob is obviously the champion who needs to be added, right? Lastly, we can also talk about how, well, Mutant Class is kind of struggling. Let's face it, Mutant Class, got Onslaught. Danny Moonstar was one of the worst champions of the... So last year we got 2 mutants only to begin with, right? And Danny Moonstar sucked. And her buff sucked. So we got 1 mutant, realistically speaking, which is Onslaught, which is brand new, which is cool, which is new, which is great. And then we can take a look at the more recent champions. We got 5 Science champions, we got 4 Skill champions, we got 4 Tech champions, we got 4 Cosmic champions, we got 5 Mystic champions. Mutants clearly have not gotten the best shake of it, especially when you look at the champions added in the previous year. None of them are like absolutely amazing. I kind of like Toad, but let's face it, they're not top of the top champions in the game. And then, even the 2021 champions, Kitty kind of seeing decline in its use, you could argue that it's been really quite a while since we have gotten some good help for Mutant Class. And Mutant Class is, at the moment, the weakest class in the game. Now, I know that a lot of people have worries about, Blob being another Gladiator, for instance, but I really don't think that will be the case. Despite Kabam saying that they are proud of Gladiator, they must know. First of all, the fact that he is getting a tune-up and them admitting that, Gladiator is one of the failures of the year, effectively speaking, who needs the tune-up in the first place, kind of contradicts how they were saying that they are proud of it. Kabam, they might be cheeky, they might be evil, they might be incompetent at times, but they're not that, unaware not to realize that nobody likes Gladiator. So, I would not expect the next Summoner Choice champion to be as bad. And on the plus side, we do definitely have a couple of champion creators who would do an amazing job with Blob, and we just know it. We just need to make sure that Blob gets in capable hands, and I'm sure he would be, a very, very solid addition to the game. And, completely factually speaking, realistically, I did not know any of the champions that are offered for the Summoner Choice properly, or if I knew of them, then extremely vaguely. I have no particularly huge attachment to any of those characters at all whatsoever, including Blob, because 2 weeks ago, I wouldn't know which champion you're talking about when you're saying Blob. At the same time, it has to be Blob. He's clearly the best. Like, we have been dealt a very shitty selection of champions. Let's face it. Majority of those champions we don't really care about. Therefore, I think Blob is by far the most rational and reasonable choice. Because number 1, he represents a class that needs the most help. Number 2, he is by far the funniest looking. Number 3, he has a chance to have, the kit that we are kind of looking for in a champion as well. Number 4, it would just be funny. and that's all the reason that I need. So, I publicly encourage every single one of my subscribers to vote for Blob. Blob Blobbering of 2024 has to happen. 2024 has to be the year of the blob. And we can make it happen. Spread the message. Encourage your teammates. Let's all vote for blob. See you soon, guys.
Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about